DC here. Hi guys and gals. Well, hope you're all well. It's Monday, tag day, and I'm on the north side of the house. Got a street in back of me, and you'll hear more noise, but it's cooler here right now. I've got my phone on a little tripod on top of the heat pump, and and that's just it. That's just the way it is. I just finished doing Jasmine's tag, and now I'm moving on to Dave Nicholson's last Saturday 7-question tag. Hi there, Dave. Hope you're doing better. You've been going through a lot lately, so I really hope you're doing better. Question 1. What will you never give up on? Oh, loving my family. Yeah. I think that's one thing I'll never give up on. Kind of feel sometimes we always say the same things, but that's because those are the things that are important for us. That's where our values lie. And never give up on, well, I was just going to say, family, faith, there are things like that, that you just don't give up on. And is it easy? No. Life is not easy. So, if you gave up on everything that was easy, you wouldn't have much. Okay, now, question 2. When you look into the past, what do you miss the most? Oh. Sometimes I really miss when my kids were about 6, 4, just preschool still, a little bit preschool, like, 5, 4, 3, those ages. I've said to Mrs. DC many times, when I dream about the kids, they're always around that age. What I miss the most also is, I think, the period I was brought up in. I think maybe, I don't remember if it was Jasmine or the legend who said that. And it's very close to what I can think of. I have a great nostalgia for my hometown as it was then, because many people have told me what you remember is not what it is anymore. Things move on, and frankly, I've never heard anybody say things move on better. And I know that's a stereotype, and that's something that people say, but sometimes I guess our memories do feel better for us. Okay. Question 3. How would you describe the past year of your life in one sentence? In one sentence. Retirement means learning new things and spending time with your family. That is one sentence. Okay, that is pretty much the past year of my life, yeah. Now, question 4. What is the most spontaneous thing you've ever done? The most spontaneous thing I've ever done. That is a very difficult question. I've done a lot of things. How many were spontaneous? I mean, a lot of spontaneous parties. Some didn't always turn out that well. I'm trying to think. One thing is, we made a decision, a very snap decision, a bunch of guys and Mrs. DC, to do a road trip down to Washington, DC. And we basically just left and had our hotels as we found them, went in the bars as we found them, ended up in an African American bar where one of my friends was getting us into trouble, and one of the guys there, who was a military, helped us out. Spontaneous thing. That's one of the spontaneous things. There would probably be a few, but I can think of that one, yeah. And do I regret it? Actually, no, I don't. But at the time, after there was a moment that I kind of did regret it, thinking like, what a stupid thing to do. Anyway, not because because we just simply had not planned. Absolutely, we had not planned anything, and none of us had any money, and so on. So yeah, we're university students. I guess that says it all. Question 5. What makes you uncomfortable? Small talk. Yeah, small talk. I hate being in a crowd when I'm with people that I don't really know and forced to do small talk. Do I get through it? Yeah, because I've kind of had to learn how to do it. Am I good at it? Actually, not really. Mrs. DC is, so it's kind of good when she's there. But it's one of these things which I've always had problems with that. And if you're not great at small talk, that means you're not really very good at networking. Having said that, though, if you are in a situation where you're like that, if you're able, try and be with someone who's pretty good at small talk, and they'll kind of shoehorn you into the conversation, and all of a sudden things start to work, because you will meet the same people usually in the same thing, in the same type of events or whatever. That was question 5. Question 6. If you had to move 3,000 miles away, that's 5,000 kilometers. If you had to move 3,000 miles away, what one thing would you miss the most? If I had to move that far away, it's like I say, you're changing continents, or you're basically changing continents, and that means you're changing everything. So what would I miss the most? Well, if I couldn't bring my family, I'd certainly miss them, but probably my habitual things. In today's world, moving that far doesn't mean that you lose everything. We've got internet, we've got so many other things that permits us to keep in contact, even with people that are 3,000 miles away. But in the old days, when things like that happened, you wouldn't be able to buy your peanut butter. You wouldn't be able to get the bread that you would usually get. You wouldn't be able to, and you would be learning new things. But the question is, what do you miss the most? You'd probably miss the most what made you comfortable. And actually, some people, that's exactly what they don't miss. But I think that probably what you miss the most is what brought you, what brought you pleasure, and that you don't have and can't find. Yeah. About the best I can answer on that one. Because, 3,000 miles away, yeah, why not have said, well, you could have said, 10,000 while you're at it. Okay, question 7. What worries you about the future? Probably the way that people are overreacting with many political things. What worries me the most about the future is the polarization and the lack of discussion in today's world. It seems that nobody's able to agree not to agree. It goes to violence, it goes to ghosting, it goes to war. And this type of thing is really what worries me most. And something, it is not just a liberal conservative thing, because there are bad people that have the bad traits on both sides of the political sphere, but that's basically what worries me most. I have to say that I have big problems with the so-called cancel culture, because that's exactly what it is. It cancels and does not take on what happened, does not accept to discuss, and basically just cancels and move on to my reality. Yeah. So the way people tend to be going in that restriction, yeah, it's kind of annoys me. Does it worry me? Worrying gives me concern. I don't know if I'd say if I was worried, but gives me concern. Okay, is that it? It is. That's it for today. Thank you very much, Dave. I'll be DC signing off. Take care, everybody, and see you next week.